It's the next level.
Hmm? Ah!
About a week before we all got on the plane, got to talking with this man at a bar in Sydney. He was an American, too. Doctor. I've been on some benders in my time, but this guy, he's going for an all-time record. So it turns out this guy has a son. Son's a doctor, too. They'd had some kind of big-time falling out. The guy knew it was his fault, even though his son was back in the States thinking the same damn thing. See, kids are like dogs. You knock them around enough, they'll think they did something to deserve it. Anyway, there's a payphone in this bar, and this guy, Christian, tells me he wishes he had the stones to pick up the phone, call his kid. Tell him he's sorry. He's a better doctor than he'll ever be. He's proud. He loves him. I had to take off, but something tells me he never got around to making that call. Small world, huh? Yeah. Good luck, Jack.
Welcome, everyone, once again back to the island for another episode of We Have to Go Back, Lost Revisited from the Next Level Podcast Network. I am Ben Beck.
And from the Podcast Network, I am Kristen Howell.
And this week, we're diving into season finale territory. We have 3 episodes of the season finale. The season finale broken down for season 1. When it aired, was broken down into 2 episodes, but it's technically 3. Because the actual last episode was aired as 2, so it was a 2-hour finale. And, so we're going to break it down into 2 episodes. Exodus Part 1, which is what we're going to talk about today. And then Exodus Part 2, Part 1, and Exodus Part 2, Part 2 next week.
Okay, but if you go on Hulu, it's Exodus Part 2 and Exodus Part 3.
Oh, if you go on IMDb, it's Exodus Part 2, Part 1, and Exodus Part 2, Part 2.
You know what? Why? Why does Lost overcomplicates everything?
Well, I mean, the story itself was overcomplicated. Not really. So why not the names of the episodes too?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't care. But either way, we're going to be talking about one of the 3 episodes today, and then we'll cover the second 2 next week. We are also changing formats yet again today, in that we are switching from a top 3 to a top 5, and that is because there is a lot to cover in this season finale.
And it's all really fun.
It is. It is a lot of fun. And even though we might not sound it, but that's just because it's very early in the morning right now, and Kristen has also been recording all week, and she is brain fried.
A little bit, but I'm ready for this one. I kept telling everybody that this one is my fun recording. I get to have fun. I get to hang out with you. I got to watch Lost this morning with coffee. I'm very excited.
You watched it again this morning?
Yeah, man. I watch it once as a fan, and then I watch it twice for notes.
Yeah, I usually do the same thing too, but I had such a busy week that I wasn't even able to start watching this episode until last night. So, but maybe I'll watch it again. I might watch it again when we're done, and then go into just the second part of this because we're going to be talking about that next week. Was that like a chime that we have to get started?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, a quick word about the format of the podcast. If you are new to it, new episodes are recorded every Friday. This is a spoiler-filled podcast, so apologies if you have not watched the series before. We are going to dive into a lot of things that happen in the future of the series, as well as the stuff that has happened in the past. And we're really hoping sometime before the end of the year to bring you some kind of an interview with one of the cast members of the show. And hopefully that's going to come to fruition. Been working my magic, and we'll see if it happens. But with that being said, let's jump into this. Exodus Part 1, Episode 23 of the first season with our top 5. And I'll kick it over to you. What's your number 5 of this top 5?
I'm going to kick it off with Jack is the Worst, man.
Oh, Des is going to love that one.
Well, he already gave us his review on the podcast, so I'm going to go with my very false character analysis of Jack is the Worst.
Okay.
It was directed towards one person, people.
Oh, yeah. I was totally directed towards you.
So there was 2 instances where I was just really disappointed in Jack. Yes, he was okay this episode. He wasn't awesome. He was okay. He had a great moment with Sawyer, which we'll talk about later, which just that scene was one of my favorites of the whole episode.
And that's in my top 5 as well.
So, but before that, when Rousseau shows up at the camp and nobody has seen her yet, really, except for Saeed. If I'm not mistaken, it was just a few people, right?
Saeed and I think Hurley are the only 2 at this point who have met Rousseau.
Okay. So she shows up at the camp and she's like, the others are coming. There was, she tells her story about the pillar of black smoke. Her baby was a week old. She's staring at Claire's baby, like super intense. Excuse me. And then she says, and then there's whispers, and that's how I knew that there were others, blah, blah, blah. So Jack is with Locke, like in the very next scene, and he's like, she's not playing with a full deck. She's talking about black smoke and whispers, and she's insane. And why are we believing her? And I'm like, dude, why are you discrediting this woman when you've seen a black smoke monster, polar bears, you followed your dead dad into the jungle when you first got here and heard the whispers that she's talking about, but you're he's so quick to just like discredit somebody or make them seem less or not believe them. Like it's annoying. And he has this like super like negative look on his face. He looks like he ate a lemon most of the time.
All right.
And then later when he's drinking at the bar, he just like Ana Lucia says something to him and he goes, do I know you? Like, come on, dude, just like look up and say, huh? Or, what? You don't have to be, he's just negative.
Well, and it's funny that you bring all that stuff up too, because I mean, I can see your point with Rousseau and like she's not playing with a full deck and all of that, but at the same time I also have another note in here, and this isn't one of my top 5s, is that Jack suddenly, to me, when it came to the other group of survivors, became so much more like trusting. Like he was willing to give Sawyer a gun without any hesitation. Arst asked if he can go with them, and he's like, okay, we're leaving in a half hour. Kate wants to go, so he's like, okay.
Yeah, but
Kate
he hesitated with Kate.
Well, you also gotta realize too that it kind of was revealed last week that of what she did.
He already knew?
No, he never knew what she did.
He knew that she was a fugitive. She didn't say anything else about what she did. She didn't say anything. She was just ousted as somebody who was in handcuffs, and she was the prisoner that the marshal had. But they never said anything about what she did.
True, but I think it was more hesitation about Kate only because she was kind of ousted by the camp, and I think that was more of what he was looking at. You're right. That does make him horrible.
Him the worst.
Yeah.
Because who is her ally on the island if it's not Jack.
True. That's very true. Yeah, I mean, it's to oust her the same way everybody else was when they were kind of in everything together. To kind of treat her that way just because the rest of the camp was. You're right. It makes him a horrible person.
There you go.
I'll agree with that.
So that's my number 5. Jack is the worst.
But again, I mean, I think there was a sudden trusting methodology to him as well, too, and with that. But it was just it kind of just surprised me a little bit that when it came to like giving Sawyer the gun, letting Arst come along, there was little to no hesitation about it. I think he was more in a survival mode than a I'm going to question everything mode. At least with them. And with Rousseau, it was completely different. So I guess there was kind of a double standard to Jack's behavior in this episode.
Yeah, because he's the worst.
Yeah, I know he's the worst.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 is and I'm kind of trying to start like lighter and then work towards the more important stuff as we go through. So my number 5 is actually going to be the seat numbers. We got more references to 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42 in this episode.
I wrote that down as well. And
that being Jack and Ana Lucia's seats on the plane. When they reveal to each other where they are, Ana Lucia is in 42F and Jack is in 23B, which also plays another important part to this show going into season 2, because we're meeting Ana Lucia for the first time, and
that was my number 4.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
we can just kind of combine them.
We could combine them. Yeah.
But we're meeting Ana Lucia for the first time, certainly not the last. And, you look at that split between 23 and 42, and that becomes very important beginning of next season. I think right from the start of season 2 is when that really jumps into it. But focusing just on this season finale, we're getting references to those numbers again in 23 and 42 being 2 of the sequence of numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I was really excited about the introduction of Ana Lucia because it means that, the story's about to get another layer. And when the show first came out, I was a huge Fast and the Furious fan. And so when I saw that Michelle Rodriguez was going to be on the show, I got really excited.
Well, and you have to figure too, like when you're watching this series for the first time and you see, you see the name in the credits, because I had actually completely forgot that Michelle Rodriguez was in the finale. I didn't think she was introduced until season 2. So when you see her name pop up in the credits, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot she was in here. But the first time you see that episode and you see that name pop up, you're like, wait, Michelle Rodriguez is in this episode? And when you see her, she's a very small part of this episode. You have to realize as a television viewer, okay, they didn't bring in an actress like Michelle Rodriguez just to play that little part. That could have gone to anybody. They didn't bring in anybody that big to play that part if that part was not more important.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, yeah, I mean, you kind of realize at that time, even upon your first viewing, that Ana Lucia is an important character.
Right. And I love the foreshadowing when she looks at him and she says, hey, the worst part's over. Uh-huh. And she says it as somebody who's been through it. And then when we learn about Ana Lucia's character later, we understand that, yeah, she really she's been through it with, her past and kind of what happened to her before she got on the island. So she was speaking with compassion from a frame of experience. But you could tell in that one line that she was, even without knowing anything about her past, at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I mean, to anybody who is watching this series for the first time, we're kind of giving away a little bit of spoilers about Ana Lucia.
Spoiler full podcast.
You do find out, again, Ana Lucia's character is very important because she was in the cargo hold the whole time. No, that's not true at all. I was trying to divert people so that they weren't spoiled that much. She was in the overhead compartment. She was a stowaway. That would have been
She was
rotten.
in 42F, man.
Well, she hid in the overhead compartment when the plane was about to go down.
Okay.
So no, that's not true at all.
She was in 42F.
42F. So that was so meeting Ana Lucia was your number 4.
Yeah, just the introduction of Ana Lucia, new character. She's on the plane, as you said. She was, kind of a bigger name at that time in 2004, 2005. So it's, you don't give, Michelle Rodriguez a cameo on the finale of, a big show like Lost had become at that point. So it kind of alludes to the fact that we are going to get more survivors at some point, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I want to backtrack on that comment a little bit of like not giving Michelle Rodriguez a cameo on a show like that, because let's not forget it was season 1. So the show had already been filmed by the time the show got big. So cameo appearances as the show went on, you could absolutely do, because there is one. There is to anybody who's ever watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Rob McElhenney actually does a small role in one of the episodes of Lost. And it was mainly because he was a fan and he just wanted to be on the show. And he plays a very small role that is over relatively quickly. It's only like a minute long, but it was because he just wanted to be on the show. But at this point in the series, with it being simply season 1, you're correct. You don't put Michelle Rodriguez in a role like that. If it was like season 4, season 5, I could see it being a possibility if she was a huge fan and just wanted to be on the show for a minute. But in season 1, yeah, that's not happening.
Right.
She's an important character if they're bringing somebody like her in this early.
Right.
So
that's what I just said.
I know, but I was just backtracking on they don't put somebody that big on unless, because of the popularity of the show.
You mean like Coldplay playing for the Red Wedding?
Yeah, like that. Exactly like that.
Okay.
Or Bruce Willis possibly showing up in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, please let it be.
That happened. That's got to happen. Has to happen. Bruce Willis, if you're listening, I know you're not, but just in case, please do Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So my number 4, I'm trying to figure out how to categorize these. I'm going to go with this one for number 4 because my other 3 are I absolutely love. They were my original top 3. This is the first time all season that we are getting multiple backstories and flashbacks. We're not focusing on just one person, because when we first started this, the first backstory that we get is Michael and Walt. And so I wrote down Michael and Walt backstory, and then we progress further and we get more of Jack's backstory. And I'm like, okay, /Jack. And then we get Sawyer's backstory. Okay, /Sawyer. And at that point, I'm like, I'm not even going to write them down anymore because it's probably going to be everybody. And even like Saeed is incorporated into Shannon and Boone's backstory. We get the U.S. Marshal incorporated back into Kate's backstory, but we're finding out literally moments right before all of these people are getting onto the plane. And, we see Michael and Walt in the hotel right before the night before they leave. We're seeing Jack in the bar in the airport. Sawyer is at the police station right before he's given the ticket to be exported home. And Shannon and Boone, I wanted to save for last because we're seeing Saeed in the airport, obviously, as well. We get that whole interaction with Saeed and Shannon. But I wanted to focus more on the Shannon and Boone aspect of it because, 1, we're seeing Boone for the first time since his death. And 2, this is really a good opportunity to see that Shannon is probably the one character out of everybody in this first season who has gone through the biggest growth. She has done a complete 180 from the character that she was in that airport, because she is a spoiled, rotten little bitch who does whatever she can do to get her own way. And she proves that with Saeed and what she does to Saeed and his luggage. And then she goes to being this character that we've actually grown to love at this point on the island.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you were still there. You were kind of relatively silent for a minute.
Well, I was listening because I was seeing where you were going with this, because a lot of what you're saying kind of goes into my number 1.
Oh, good God. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm totally cool with that. So so I'll talk about kind of, I think you're right, but I also think that this whole flashback thing kind of, to me, proved that I think the point that was trying to be made was how far everybody had come. And the only reason why I say that is because from the very top of the episode, Walt and Michael are in two separate beds, and Walt is yelling at his father, trying to run away from his father, telling him he's not his father. And then as soon as that flashback is over, it goes to what's going on the island, and they're sleeping head to head. And, Walt wakes up sleeping right next to his father, and he doesn't want to wake him up, and he gingerly steps away to let his father sleep. And that, to me, was it was so apparent that it was saying, look how far these two characters have come. And then you say about Shannon, because it's true what you said. I mean, you look at Shannon's not even paying attention to Saeed and tries to get him in trouble to make a point to Boone. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
But then, and now here she is, and she's folding clothes, and she's grieving the loss of her brother. She's got a relationship with the guy she got into trouble with, and she got into trouble in the airport. And Walt is handing over his dog to her.
And that's actually my number 3.
Right.
This, yeah.
So, and we'll talk about, and we could talk about that later, but that shows how far Shannon has come. You look at Kate. Kate was going to jail. Kate, with a guy that had 5 guns.
Yeah.
And now she's got the guns. I mean, she
I
doesn't
didn't
have
even think
the
of
guns.
it that way, but yeah.
But now she's kind of, she's on her own path to redemption. Granted, she's taken a huge step back because Sawyer was a jackass last episode. But even, I mean, look at Sawyer. Sawyer was, being deported, and he had just killed a man that he shouldn't have killed. And he was, just really angry and horrible. And now he's telling Jack the biggest piece of information that Jack has needed to hear since his father died. And that was huge. You look at Jin and Sun. Jin and Sun, with their little interaction in the airport with her getting food and spilling coffee on him, and they're just like on opposite ends of, any type of loving marriage. And then they come forward and they're reconciling and they're crying and they're telling each other that they love each other as much as they do. And he wants to take care of her instead of her taking care of him. And and I titled my number 1, We've Come a Long Way, Baby, right? Mm-hmm. Because everybody was on this island and they started as strangers who didn't trust each other. And now they have all collectively come together to launch this raft, and they succeed together. And they're hugging each other and they're celebrating each other, and they've become a community. And I think that there's something really beautiful about that. And I love the path that this entire group as a whole has gone on through the whole season. And I think that that's really pronounced in this particular episode.
In that whole stretch of conversation that you just had, you just touched on the rest of my top 5.
Well,
but that's fine. And that's fine. I mean, we'll go into more detail of all of them as we progress further. But yeah, I mean,
that's why I saved it for number 1, because I was like, if I talk about this too early,
we're gonna go into, it's gonna ruin exactly. the top 5. But it's fine. I mean, it's one of those things that, like, I know we focus on the top 5, but just jumping into these moments, even if they kind of blend together, is fine. And that's one of the reasons why I saved the rest of these for my top 3 over my top 5, is because there's so much that happens in this episode when it comes to the launching of the boat, when it comes to Rousseau coming back to camp and mentioning the black smoke and the others are coming. But some of my favorite parts of this episode were the character interactions.
Yes. I think that's how it is supposed to be.
No, I agree with you completely. And, one of the things I can make mention that's a note and not one of my top 5 that you kind of brought up in that point is that you're right. By the end of this episode, when they're launching that boat, we're seeing more than any other time in this series that this is a group of strangers who have, in a very weird way, become family. Mm-hmm. They're stepping up, they're helping each other. And we talked about hope last episode, and the hope, how it takes just a little bit of hope to push things forward and, bring this group a little bit of happiness. We're seeing that in the launching of this raft. Everybody is happy because there's a glimmer of hope that they might get rescued because of this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just been great to watch everything come together, and that boat launching from Charlie collecting people's messages and putting them in the bottle to go on the boat, to the scene I'm sure Sawyer loved, or that ladies loved, about Sawyer cutting the bamboo for the mast of the raft, and how that kind of brings him back into the fold with Michael and Jin, and just seeing everything. It brings so much happiness, and it really is kind of like a happiness before hell moment of this series, because this season finale is broken up into technically three parts. This is the happiest of it, because the next part of it is not so much.
Right.
A lot of shit starts going down before this season ends.
But isn't it great that that we get the sense of how close they are as a group before the shit hits the fan?
Yeah.
Right? Because then you know that this is a group of people that can rely on each other. Whereas if you just started with the crappy part, you would probably think, there's been so much drama lately. I'm not really sure that, they'll be able to do any of this. And there were just a lot of really great solidifying moments of this episode that kind of made you just feel warm and fuzzy about the group as a whole.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. I think
right.
had they not made that point that they do have this connection and they do have this bond, that when all this stuff started happening, I think you needed to make that point that you just made, that they could rely on each other. So, because
yes.
they're going to need that to get through it.
Yes.
So, because we're also seeing kind of I don't want to use the term fracture, because fracture almost seems like it has a negative connotation, but we're seeing a split in the cast for the first time as well. We've seen relatively individual stories and smaller splits of Boone and Locke going off and doing their things. But now we're seeing a split into three different groups now. We're seeing the group that's going to the Black Rock, into the Dark Territory. We're seeing the group that's on the raft, and then we're seeing the group that is going to now move to the caves. Because of everything. So, and that plays an important part as well, because this group, I'm trying to remember or not, because it has been a while since I've watched these finales. I know of one group that's not going to be coming back into the fold for a little while. One of these three groups isn't going to be coming back for a little while. And you can probably kind of guess which one of those three groups are, because they're the group that's leaving the island.
Wish it was Jack's group.
I know. I don't, because Hurley's in that group. And so is Kate.
I know. Don't
incorporate them into your negativity against Jack. Don't punish them.
No, I'm kidding.
So where did we leave off with this? Did you do a number 4? Or
no.
Okay.
No. Well,
you kind of moved your number 1 to number 4.
I started off with a point, but then I've just been piggybacking on yours.
Okay. So then what's your number 4?
Well, my number 4 was the introduction of Ana Lucia, so I'll go to my number 3.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you started. Sorry. So
I wanted to talk about Sawyer and Jack scene.
That's my number 3. So let's do it.
Cool. All right. So It was my number 2, but I'll move it to my number 3 so we can talk about it together. Just love this scene so much because, first of all, Jack is giving Sawyer a gun.
Yeah.
And if anybody had told me when first watching this show at the very beginning that Jack would have willingly given Sawyer a gun, I would have laughed in their face.
And that's the point. That's the key word right there, is willingly giving him a gun. Like, it was his idea to do this.
He came and sought him out.
Yeah.
Which, is great. It's great that they've come to some level of respect with each other now. I'm not sure how sincere it is. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Jack knows that somebody needs to probably have a gun on the raft. And he knows that Sawyer knows how to use one. He's not going to give it to Jin because he probably feels like he can't communicate with Jin, even though I'm pretty sure, knowing Jin's backstory, he knows how to use a gun. he's not going to give it to Michael because Michael has a kid and he's probably not going to feel comfortable with it. So he gives it to Sawyer. But, and I love it when he comes up and he just says lumberjack.
Yeah.
Because he's like just trying to, it's like in Walking Dead when everybody was trying to guess what Daryl did before the apocalypse. That to me, that was like a little callback when they were trying to guess it. Because Jack was like, "Oh, I'm trying to guess what I've been trying to guess what you were before we got to this island." But really, I mean, the whole focus of this scene is Sawyer. To me, it's Sawyer gave Jack this information that he really needed. That Jack has needed this information, and I don't know what possessed Sawyer to do it. Is it because they were saying goodbye? Is it because Jack was kind to him or he treated him like a human? Is it because they were having like a sincere, friendly moment? I mean, whatever the motivation is, it was just such a fantastic scene by both of them. Like Sawyer was being sincere, which we never see, and Jack fell apart, which is great because he's usually kind of cold.
And I think because this is a scene that I was waiting for, because I know I did bring this up in an earlier episode that we were going to be getting this speech. And I think there is definitely a lot that happens with this. And you mentioned like this mutual respect that the two of them have. And I think we kind of see that exponentially grow in this scene. I think there was already kind of a mutual respect between them. And I think what this scene really indicates is that Sawyer is a character who kind of really hasn't figured out how to express himself. Mm-hmm. And I think he feels this is the way to do it when it comes to Jack. I think, Jack kind of has a little bit of a mutual respect for Sawyer, even though Sawyer kind of gets on his nerves a little bit. And he doesn't exactly like him, even though he respects him. But Sawyer, on the other hand, I think does respect Jack because Jack has stepped into that leadership role. He has saved him. He gave him he's given him the glasses, helped him with his eyesight. So even though he's had issues with Jack, Jack has still been, I know you think he's the worst.
He's the worst.
But has been a bigger man and has still helped him when, he needed help. He did the doctor thing. He helped him with his vision.
He didn't want to.
But he still did.
But that's because of the oath. It's not because he's a bigger guy.
I said he did the doctor thing. But I think this story, when he made the connection about Christian Shepherd and, talking about his son, I think because you can see that moment when Jack is walking away and Sawyer realizes I may never have another opportunity to do this. Mm-hmm. And he calls Jack back and he tells Jack the whole story about, how his father, this guy had a son who he was proud of and he never got an opportunity to do it. And I have a feeling he never got that phone call. This is Sawyer's way of showing Jack he respects him.
Or that he's sorry.
Well, I think it could be a little bit of a combination of the both. Mm-hmm. And this is the way that he does it. This is a character who doesn't know how to express himself. This is how he feels he can do it. And it works. Mm-hmm. Because you can, as you mentioned, Jack breaks down. Because he knows this is his father who he's talking about. Well,
he knew because Sawyer said Christian.
Yeah.
The minute he said Christian, I think it was like, because Jack could have been left wondering.
Well, and I think Jack
if this was really the story about his dad,
or if this was a story that Sawyer made up.
Correct. And then he heard Christian, and he knew.
He knew that it was real.
He knew that Sawyer was on the level.
Yeah. So there is a lot to. It's a short episode. It's a short scene, but there is a lot to take in with just this one interaction between these two characters.
Right. The scene packs a lot of punch, and I am so glad. And it sets up a lot, I think. These two, they're frenemies. They always will be frenemies.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we go back to how these guys are, how this group of strangers that have become family that can rely on each other. Look, we don't always get along with our family, but there are definitely times when we have to rely on them, and that's absolutely a great way to describe these two characters. They don't always like each other, but they kind of respect each other and they trust each other.
And when stuff goes down, they know that each of them will have each other's back.
Yeah, exactly.
That says a lot.
It really does. They may not like each other's personalities. They may butt heads when it comes to decision making, but when their lives are on the line, as this series progresses further, when their lives are on the line, man, they have each other's backs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really important when it comes to these two characters. So
yeah. Well, what? So that was your number 3.
That was my number 3 as well.
Cool.
So that was your number 3. That was my number 3. What about your number 2?
Well, that's the only thing left that I want to talk about. It's Jin and Sun.
Oh God, that's my number 1.
Well, my number 1 was already.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
ago.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, this was by far my favorite part of the episode. And
I cried both times I watched it.
I'm just gonna say one thing, and then I'll piggyback off of anything else you're gonna say about it. Is I think I'm pretty much agreed and pretty much decided that when it comes to television, Jin and Sun are the greatest television love story I have ever watched.
Yes.
I will say that without any shadow of a doubt. Any other TV show that you throw at me and relationship, I don't care about Grey's Anatomy. I don't care about like McDreamy or any of these other characters out there. Jin and Sun, without a doubt, are the greatest television love story I have ever witnessed.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode, man, was the pinnacle point and the beginning of all of it.
I agree. I agree. And I love what they did in this episode. They showed how disconnected they were at the airport and how she was taking care of him. And he expected that. He expected to be taken care of by his wife. And then we get to the part where she approaches him and, he's looked so angry the whole time. And because he can't speak English, we have interpreted his reaction to Sun as anger when really it's shame. And his entire focus has been getting off the island so that he can save her, so that he can take care of her. And when he realizes that Sun is still taking care of him on the island, she wrote out an entire journal of phonetically spelled out Korean to help him learn English.
Yeah.
I think he just breaks down because even when they are at their lowest point, even when he has left her, she still cares about him and wants to take care of him and won't stop taking care of him. And it breaks him completely down. And he's finally honest with her. And they're able to like getting emotional just thinking about
I was
it.
getting choked up just saying how they're the greatest TV love story.
Yeah. And he's able to apologize and she's able to accept his apology. I mean, she ends up apologizing as well, but she accepts his apology. And that's huge. She doesn't wash over that. And she knows how big that is. And I just wanted him to stay on the island.
I think a lot of people did at that point. I think, when they saw them make up, I think a lot of people really probably wish that Jin would stay behind. Mm-hmm. And, it's something that we don't see happen. But I think one of the things I want to tackle into what you said about, how he was shameful and that was part of the reason. We're seeing two characters who I think at this point in time, they're broken. The characters themselves aren't broken, but the relationship is broken. And we're starting to see the first instances of it becoming on the mend. But these are two characters who I think at this point, with the relationship being broken, there are two characters that they don't blame each other, they blame themselves.
Yes.
Jin is very much, we see, blaming himself for everything that has happened. He's the first to apologize. And God, that moment when he just says, "I'm sorry," and starts to break down is like when it all begins and we see everything come to fruition. But, Sun, before that point, was somebody who blamed herself because she was the one that was deceiving Jin about the secret that she had. So at right up until that moment, actually at that moment when Jin is apologizing, is the moment you realize this relationship is broken, not because they blame each other, but because they blame themselves.
Right. And I mean, let's not forget about the fact that they were going to LA from Sydney with two very different objectives. Jin wanted to save his marriage and he wanted to disconnect from Sun's father, and Sun wanted to leave him and escape and never see him again. And so if you think about the fact that Jin wanted to save his marriage, and it's like he lost that, but when he learned, that she knew English because she wanted to, escape him, I think the reason why he left was because he needed to resolve to try and do better, because he knew that she was right. He knew that he had failed her and he didn't want to fail her again. And this is going to sound really strange, but it made me think about the American couple that was watching them in the airport, and they were just being so negative and horrible when they were talking about the two of them. And the husband said, their divorce rate is a lot lower than ours. And she's like, if you ever see me do that for you, just shoot me now or something like that. And I thought that it was really kind of telling about kind of marriage as a whole, because, the divorce rate is high in America in comparison to the rest of the world. And I think that it's because Americans have this like me attitude, and they want stuff for them. Whereas in other marriages, they take care of each other. And I think that it's that serving of each other and the care of another person that keeps that divorce rate low, because they were at odds and he had left her, but he left her because he wanted to be better for her. He didn't leave her because he was angry that she shamed him. He left because he wanted to be better for her. She was devastated when he left, but she still wanted to take care of him and she still wanted to help him. And that doesn't happen in our culture as Americans as often as it should. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, because I have a very good marriage. I have an incredible marriage, but we do have our points where we're very selfish. And I think that we give up as Americans really, really easily. And this is kind of a case being made for not giving up and for seeing it through and for being true to the person that you've chosen to spend the rest of your life with. And I think that that's what makes Jin and Sun so incredible, is that against all odds and against everything that they've been through on and off the island, it's what makes them an inspirational couple. It's what makes us root for them, because they believe in each other even at their lowest moments. Yeah. I went off on a rant, but it's
fine. It's perfectly fine. But I think, again, with the whole spoilerful aspect of this podcast too, one of the things that I think is, even while they are one of the best like TV love stories that we've seen, they're they're also kind of tragic, because, and I'm not just
yes.
I'm not
100%.
I'm not even just going to the very end of how the relationship, turns out by the series end. It's just they're
you
kind of
need a lot of alcohol for that episode.
Oh, trust me.
Like a lot of alcohol.
If I got just that emotional over just watching that scene in this finale, there are a number of moments throughout the rest of this series that I'm going to need a drink.
Let's just call it Drunk Cast for that episode.
For that episode?
Yeah,
oh
we'll
my
just
God.
Tell everybody, just open up your favorite bottle of bourbon and let's do this.
Because let's not forget, there's another character that we lose in that episode.
Yeah, well,
that
whatever.
kind of get overshadowed by the Jin and Sun moment. And God, but
we're
even
getting ahead of
even
ourselves.
before that, like this is a couple that, as much as we love them as a couple, there's really not a lot of time that they're together.
I know.
And
It's
that's
the
what's
worst.
so tragic about it.
But at least they managed to make a kid.
That is very, very true.
They managed to kind of get that in.
Somehow they got that in.
No, you're right, because it is tragic. And when you think about them reconciling and him getting off on the raft, I couldn't help but think about that they spend a lot of time apart. And in that last season, all you want is for them to see each other again, to reconnect, what is the word that I'm thinking of? It's gone. But and it just doesn't happen. Like every episode, I remember every episode that week going, okay, this is it. This is where they're going to finally see each other again. I can't wait. Nope, that wasn't it. Great. Okay, maybe next week. It was like somebody ripping that football out from Charlie Brown every single week.
Yeah,
so.
pretty much. Yeah, I mean they're one of the greatest, but one of the most tragic couples of this series, and it's a shame, but
I think it's because we root for marriage. Deep down inside, I think we all root for people to stay together.
I think so. I think we always want the best. I mean, and it's I think that's just human nature for most people, is to just want that. Because I think it's something that we wish in people, but we kind of covet for ourselves at the same time. And so sometimes in our own lives, when we don't get that, we just enjoy seeing it with other people, especially in characters that we're watching on television. So,
that's why TV is magic.
Well, I mean, TV. I've said this for years. Television and movies, they're an escape from reality. They're an opportunity for you to kind of escape your own life at one point, for a certain, for a period of time. And why wouldn't you want the best when you're in those escape moments as well?
Right.
All right. So that was my number one, but I moved it to my number two. So, did you want to touch base on any more of your number one? Because I know your number one was the backstories of everybody. Did you want to jump back into that at all, or did you feel like you covered most of that?
No, I covered most of it. I covered it. I'm good.
Okay. So with that said, I'll mention my last one of my top five. Again, it was initially my number two, but I'll mention it for number one since we talked about Jin and Sun. One of my other favorite moments from this episode was the Walt and Shannon moment.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
There's, we get that moment where obviously Vincent can't go on the raft being a dog. He's better left behind. So Walt has to find somebody to take care of Vincent, and he gives Vincent to Shannon. And I think one of the reasons why I love this scene so much is the fact that it's purely about innocence. There's an innocence, while there's a lot about Walt that we don't know, we don't understand, and unfortunately we'll never know and understand because it's kind of an unanswered element of the series. There's an innocence in childhood, and we definitely see that out of Walt in that he sees the purest in people. And in that moment, he sees that Shannon is in pain. Shannon is in pain she's still in pain over the loss of Walt. And he kind of sees her as an outsider, and he wants to fix that. He wants to help her, and his way of doing that is giving her Vincent. He says, Vincent helped me through times when I needed help. He's a really good listener, and it's such a touching moment that when he says to her, like, if you want to talk to him about Boone, I'm sure he'll listen. Like, it's such a heartfelt moment from Walt and Shannon that I just absolutely adored that scene. It was one of my favorite scenes of this episode.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because I really did identify with that. So a year after my sister passed away, my sister and my nephew passed away within 9 days of each other. And a year after that, I got my dog Maggie, and Maggie brought me back to Earth. basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he was talking about you could talk to Vincent, and Vincent, helped me when my mom died, and Shannon seemed really touched by that. I just loved the fact that was brought up, because it kind of blasted me back to why I got Maggie in the first place. And, she's been with me now for over 12 years, and she remains my best friend to this day. And it sounds weird to say that my dog is my best friend, but she totally is. She's always there. And I'm so glad that not only was that brought up, that, animals can be that important to someone's grieving process, but that Magic Walt,
Yeah.
who seems to know everything, he recognized that Shannon needed something to ground her. And he chose the exact right person to give Vincent to.
I agree.
Even though she let go of him and he went into the ocean, like within 5 seconds of her having a dog.
But you know what, though? Like, here's the thing, though. I don't criticize Shannon for that moment. I think that moment was more for dramatic effect than anything else. I don't think that moment was to show irresponsibility of Shannon with a dog. I think it was just to show more the dramatic effect of Walt leaving the island. So I don't criticize that at all. I kind of wrote that off.
But it was pretty funny, you have to admit. It's pretty funny that, Shannon's like, I got a dog. There he goes into the ocean. Bye.
Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute. And he's swimming to Walt now. Like, yeah, I understand it was humorous, but I kind of wrote it off.
No, so. And it's fine. And I love that he tried to go after Walt, and it broke my heart because, this is hard for Walt. As, we saw him kissing Vincent goodbye.
Yeah.
At that point. So, poor Vincent, he never gets to leave the island.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't.
Mm-mm.
Vincent never gets off the island. Now, for those of you pet lovers out there, we will spoil Vincent doesn't die. He just ends up staying on the island. So, and that's
yeah. He is the true guardian of the island.
He kind of is. If you think about it.
It's really a true
you know what?
Pet story is Lost.
We just broke the entire mystery of Lost. We just broke it. We just broke it down in it, you just solved the whole mystery. Vincent is the true guardian of the island. That's it. Podcast over.
Thanks, folks.
It's been real.
It's been real. It's been fun and it's been real, but it has been real fun.
Let's bring up some notes, because there are a couple elements of this series that we didn't even get to mention in our top 5. I mean, we didn't even really talk about Rousseau returning to the camp. We didn't talk about the black smoke.
Can we talk about the fact that Arzt is kind of the worst?
He's kind of the worst because Jack is the worst.
No, right, exactly. But Arzt, I mean, he's super angry. Like, I don't know where all the anger came from, but he's like calling people idiot, and he's like clearly not meant for this island. He's like, everybody's like, okay, we're gonna go on a little jaunt. Everybody has their backpacks, and he's got like something tied around his neck and a walking stick, and he's huffing and puffing, and then he's
also a chicken shit.
Right. He hears one little, like, kind of scary thing in the jungle. He's like, peace out. Careful with the dynamite. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
How do we handle the dynamite? Just be careful. Yeah. And that's it. Like, he is, you're right. He is a horrible, horrible character.
And then he comes back and he's like, ah! And like, and he's just like, he goes, you don't understand what just happened. And they're like, so we've been in the jungle every day. You haven't. We know the black smoke monster, you moron.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. And he's one of those characters that's just absolutely, I harken back to what I just said about him being a chicken shit. He hears a slight noise and then he just takes off.
Because I was in until I learned that guy, until Marceau lost his arm. I'm out.
Yeah,
did none of you hear that Marceau lost his arm? Seriously? Or why are we still here?
Yeah, he's just he's a character that when you find out what happens to him in the next part of this finale, it's kind of shocking, but also enjoyable at the same time.
Right. You're like, yeah, bye, buddy. Bye, Leslie.
Exactly. I rock Leslie. Leslie's a badass name.
Yeah. It's like, don't call me
Yeah,
Leslie. It's Arst. It's Arst.
and he's always overly critical about the way his name is pronounced, and such. You're right. He's just he's horrible.
He really is, and he's so high strung. My goodness.
Yeah.
I would just think if you've like crashed on an island and you're pretty sure that these are the like this is where you are now, like just like go with the beach mentality, man. Just calm down a little bit. A little bit. I'm not even asking you to calm down all the way, but maybe we just take the giant stick out of your ass.
Well, I think
let's start there.
I think part of it also is the fact that because he's a teacher and he's an educator, I think he feels like he's smarter than everybody. And he just wants to make that apparent, but yet still.
Jack's the smartest one. Maybe even Saeed.
I think. Oh God, I would put Saeed above Arst. Jack for sure.
Yeah, well, no, Saeed and Jack are probably neck and neck for smartest guy on the island.
I would put Locke up there too. Locke is incredibly intelligent, but Locke is more
intelligent
street.
in a different way. Yeah, exactly.
Locke is more street smart and
no, Locke is
and survival.
Street smart.
Yeah.
Locke and is more trusting. He's open-minded.
Yeah. Well, man of faith.
But then you have Jack, right? Jack, who is that man of science, who's very closed-minded, but he's incredibly intelligent. And then I think Saeed is a nice mix between the two.
I think so too. I really do, because I mean, especially when it comes to moments of the hatches, I think it's because he's that nice mix is the reason why he's kind of he's the opposite
voice
end
of reason.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
And I think that we just figured it out that because Saeed is a nice blend of the two, that makes Saeed the smartest guy on the island.
I would, I wouldn't disagree with that. Because you're right. I mean, he's a very intelligent person. He was an intelligence officer in the army, but at the same time, he's been through a hell of a lot in his life through the wars and things like that. That he's also smart when it comes to survival. So yeah, you're right. He's a great blend of both. And as much as I love Locke, I would put Saeed above him as far as the smartest character on the island.
Out of all three of them, I want Saeed on my side in a survival situation.
I would still choose Locke.
No way.
No, because then again, Locke might get you killed.
If Locke gets hurt, he's going to use you to further his survival. So
that's true. That's very, very true.
R.I.P. Boone.
That's true. All right, I'm with you on that one. I think I'll take Saeed. Locke would be a close second, and then Jack. But it's I think Saeed is who I want on my side.
Jack can come along, but he's a pity invite for me.
We'll just bring Sawyer along for the muscle.
As long as his shirt is off.
I wasn't going to go there. I wasn't going to go to that point.
Hey, it took me this long to not mention it. So
I brought up that scene before you did this episode. I was like, the scene for all the ladies out there of him cutting that bamboo. Because when the moment that scene happened and the whole camera angle of it all, I was like, good God, this is purely just for the women who watch the show.
And you knew that the woman that you podcast with was thoroughly okay with that.
Of course. Of course I knew. I think in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, Kristen's going to love this scene.
Yeah, Kristen did love that
Kristen
scene.
loved that scene. And so I brought it up before
Terry
you got the
loves
Lost. Another Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference for the episode. That should be going forward what we do. We should just pick one show and make as many references as possible as we can during our podcast.
There you go.
Because sometimes it's Friends. Today it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We got to talk about the Black Rock.
I forgot that it was a ship, man.
I didn't, but
totally forgot.
Did you really?
Yeah, I look at it, I'm like, holy shit, it's a ship. That's right, it's a ship. That's that was the 1-2 punch of my thought process when I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ship, and this is not the last time we're going to see it.
We're going to see it further along in this episode.
I didn't just mean in the finale. I meant in the series. There are a number of times we're going to see this ship. And not just in this time period. We're going to see this ship in some flashbacks as well, which is going to be interesting when we get to those points. So, but yeah, I mean, up until this point, when you're watching the show for the first time, you figure the black rock is literally just a huge black rock, and not a cargo ship in the middle of the island, nowhere near water, which adds to the mystery of the boat, which I find kind of fun. So it's a lot of fun when we get into that. And I think the only other note I have. And then I'll turn it over to you to see if you have anything else. This is the first time in a while we got the smoke monster coming back.
Yeah, but did we?
We find out from Rousseau that it's a security system, which we will learn by the end of this series she's wrong. But in some ways she's actually right. It is in some ways a security system, but in many ways it's not. And when you say, did we? Yeah, I guess in the technical aspect, we didn't see the smoke monster. But to be upfront and honest about it, have we seen it at all this season? All we've done is heard it.
No, we've seen it.
We did?
It came really close to Locke. And Locke just looked in it.
But did we see it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember.
I feel like we did. I'm going to have to go back and look.
Yeah.
Des, I know that you know and you're listening right now, so just do me a favor and just tell us the answer.
Oh, God, you are inviting so much just by saying that.
We always get it anyways.
I know. But you're just bringing it on yourself at this point.
I know. You can always edit that out.
You know I won't. That's all I have for notes. I don't know if you have anything additional.
I have like a few little things. Okay. One of them is that I'm really glad that the marshal's dead.
Yeah, because he's a jerk.
Man, it's just, if I was the TSA agent, I would have felt so bad for her. I would have been like, man, I'm sorry. I wish I could get you out of this.
Yeah. That's why I need 5 guns.
I know. What an asshole. So Charlie and the messages in the bottle, that kind of comes back to bite them in the ass, if I'm not mistaken.
How so?
See, and this is why it's been so long since I've watched this show, but I feel like that gets into the wrong hands.
I don't remember if that's the case or not. You could be right, but yeah, I mean, I really don't remember what happens. I don't know, because we know what happens to the raft, but I don't remember, unless that bottle washes ashore. Maybe not. It does. Yeah. The bottle washes back ashore.
Yeah.
It does.
Okay, so I was right.
Yes. I don't remember what happens to the bottle when it does wash ashore, but I do remember there being moments. I do remember a moment when somebody finds that bottle.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up right now.
Oh, you're cheating.
Of course I am. I want to know the answer.
Rock the Lost Wiki.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll find it, and we could talk about it at a different time. Because we're gonna be in this episode. We're gonna be in this particular finale for at least another week.
Yeah, exactly. It's oh, you know what? The bottle washed up on shore and was found by Claire and Shannon, who gave it to Sun. And oh, that's right. Sun buries it. Because when she finds the bottle, she doesn't want anybody on the island to think that something happened to the raft.
That's right. You're right.
Yep. And it's when she buries the bottle that she loses her wedding ring.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Okay, so that mystery is over.
Yes, it is.
I thought that for some reason, I thought that it got into the hands of the others or something like that. and then they used that information against them. But that's just my brain going in 1,000 different directions right now.
And that episode is also very early on in season 2, and that is also an episode we're going to have a guest host, because that is Everybody Hates Hugo.
Oh, cool.
Oh, no. She wanted to do Trisha Tanaka
Trisha Tanaka is dead.
Yeah.
That's season 3.
That's season 3. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So, okay. Anyways, that does it for my notes.
All right. Yeah, I mean, again, this is just the first part of the finale. We've got a 2-hour finale, 2-hour part 2 that we're going to talk about next week. So I'm sure we're going to have a lot to break down next week when we go into it. But no Manifest this week. Manifest is on break for the season. They'll return in January. So so we'll return with the Manifest minutes in January as well. But we have some feedback that we have to get through.
Cool.
And we have 2 more voicemails this week, again, from our friends Steve and Des. Let's do Steve's first, because I'm interested to see what Des is going to say this week. Because
cool.
We kind of gave him a little bit of shit last week. Well, you gave him a little bit of shit last week. I'm kind of on the defensive side with him. I'm kind of defending the things that he's saying purely for the fun of it.
Okay.
But let's start with that message from Steve, and we'll play that voicemail now.
Hello, Ben and Kristen. This is Steve, and just had a few thoughts on Exodus Part 1 and a question, I guess, to start out with. You've probably already answered in the podcast, maybe, but are you going to break up the next 2 hours into 2 episodes, or are you just going to do 1 episode covering them? I know Hulu breaks it up into 2 more hours, but just a thought. We see Jack being a leader. I thought that's kind of interesting that he wasn't thrust into leadership this time. He took that leadership role. Hurley says, after they talk about the explosives, the dark territory, and the Black Rock, he said, well, there's 3 reasons to go right now. To go right there. I thought that was pretty funny. This is the first time I think we've seen multiple perspective flashbacks. So, again, another interesting thing that we learned Sawyer's real name, and I wonder if Hurley has known it all along, because he says to Arts that he knows his first name is Leslie, and he kept that secret, but he couldn't keep any other secrets. So I thought that was another interesting thought there, that he's probably known Sawyer's real name the entire time. He just hasn't told anybody. Is this Kate making a choice between Jack and Sawyer, or do you think there's more to it, her going with him to get the explosives and not seeing the raft launched? Loved seeing Saeed again. I love Saeed because, and I said this even back originally when I watched the show, I love him because he's always doing what needs to be done. He's always kind of the practical one of everybody. And I think even though he has a story arc, he's almost really the most complete character that we have here. I mean, he does have a story, and he has the romance with Shannon and all that. But I really like Saeed. Jen and Son, I got the feels in that little exchange between them where Jen says, I'm sorry, and she says that she's sorry as well. So anyway, can't wait to hear what you guys said, and can't wait to listen. Hope to see you in New York, New Jersey, Ben. See ya.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I mean, we touched on it a little bit earlier that we're gonna do it as a 2-hour finale, since that's the way it aired, instead of breaking it up like Hulu does. So it'll give everybody an opportunity to watch 2 episodes back to back, because I know we're looking forward to that too. We wanted to jump right into Exodus Part 2 immediately after watching Part 1, and we kind of had to hold back. So this week we won't have to do that. But yeah, he mentioned the whole Hurley line of, well, there's 3 reasons not to go.
I know, that was
which
funny.
I loved. I forgot about that too. And he made one other point, and I suddenly forgot.
So I don't. I'll answer his question. I don't think that Kate was making a conscious decision between Jack and Sawyer. I think that she tried. I think that she tried to say goodbye to him, but she wanted to be on that raft. And so, for some people, they need to stay busy so that they can not think about the fact that they're that they would rather be somewhere else or doing something else. So I think that that's what she was basically doing, is that she was trying to stay useful and stay busy while everybody launched the raft. Not to mention that she's been ostracized by the entire group at this point, and she probably just needs a change of scenery because she's kind of lost a lot of people in her corner.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. I don't think she's necessarily making the choice between the two, and you know what? I honestly think that I don't think Kate could make a choice between the two at this point. I mean, there's definitely a lot of trust in Jack, but there's a connection with Sawyer, and I think her not being there, I mean, we do see that moment where she looks very disappointed in the fact that Sawyer was not there at the moment that she was saying goodbye to everybody, or that everybody was saying goodbye. So, yeah, I think she just she knew she wasn't going on the raft. I think she just I think she went with Jack more purely because she needed the distraction of knowing she wasn't getting off the island. So she figured that since she wasn't going, she kind of needed to be helpful and use it as a distraction. So, but thanks, Steve. Yeah, you get to leave us voicemail you get to leave us a voicemail next week for both of those episodes, for Exodus Part 2. Part 2, Part 1, and Part 2, Part 2. Hey, that's how IMDb has it, so that's how I'm doing it.
All right.
All right.
Well, you want to do Dez's voicemail?
Yeah. Let's play that now.
Okay, you two are officially evil. So after making me wait like 10, 12 days for the Lost podcast, my wife wakes up for work at 2:30 in the morning. I look at my phone. You finally downloaded. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and listen to it because she's going to keep me up anyway. So then Steve has to come up with the question, have we ever had a flashback at the beginning of the episode again? I'm sure Des will know. I didn't know, but I had to freaking pull out my DVDs and run through season 1. Here we go. The first one was on Walkabout, which I don't know if you want to count this one. It starts out with John having a flashback of when the plane first crashed. But the other flashbacks are actual flashbacks. This one is him actually thinking about it. So I don't know if you want to count that one or not. White Rabbit, you see young Jack getting beat up. Outlaws, you see the day that Sawyer's parents got killed. In Transition, you see a flashback of Jin and Son's office. Deus Ex Machina, you see John working in the Toy Story and playing Mousetrap, my favorite game. Then Born to Run, you see Kate, dyeing her hair in the stolen motel room. And then in Exodus Part 1, we're going to see Walt and Michael and Sydney. So depending on how you count it, we got either 6 or 7 flashbacks opening the season. And then that wasn't it. Then you have to reference Madeline Kahn in Clue. So then I had to stay up and watch Clue. I freaking hate you guys.
Oh, God. I love Dez's voicemails so much.
I love Des. I just think he's wonderful.
Oh, bringing up Clue. That was brilliant. And the fact that, and I just remember that moment from the podcast last week because you mentioned it before while I was thinking it. So one way or another, that reference was coming out.
Flames! Flames!
One way or another, that reference was happening during your rant because if you hadn't made it, I was literally seconds away from making that reference.
One of the best scenes in all the movies in all the world. I just love it. I hated her so much. So flames came out of my body.
I love on the side of my face, heaving breaths. Oh God, that's such a fantastic movie.
Yeah,
I love that movie. I want to jump back to Steve's voicemail for a minute because I just thought of something else. He made the point that we're hearing Sawyer's real name, James Ford, for the first time. Was that the first time we heard it?
No, I think that Kate's been calling him James.
Yeah,
hasn't-
I think we knew that was his name already at this point. So I think maybe that's the first time we're hearing it outside of Kate calling him
Should
that.
we give Des more homework?
No, we've given him enough homework already.
He sent us. I don't know if he posted it to the Lost page or if he sent it to us privately, but he actually made a chart. And if it's not on the Lost page, I think that we should post his chart.
I don't remember the chart.
Oh yeah, maybe he just sent it to me then. But he made a chart of whether the eye had whether the episode had started with the eye, if we got a flashback, who the flashback was. Like, it's a hand-drawn Excel spreadsheet, basically.
Oh no, I do remember the chart. Yeah, it was. I think, or was it? Or what am I thinking of? Or maybe because I remember.
Oh no, I have it. Yeah, he sent it to the two of us.
Okay. He sent us a couple things.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And I love it. I love the fact that he's listening and he contributes to by sending us feedback and everything every week. It's great. But on that note, we want to hear feedback from other people. We want to hear feedback from the rest of you. And there are multiple ways that you can do that. First and foremost, we are on Facebook at facebook.com/Lost Revisited.
We are on Instagram at Lost Revisited Pod.
You can email us at lostrevisited@gmail.com.
And if you'd like to leave a message, you can record it yourself and you can send it to our email address. Or you can send it through Messenger.
Yep. I was just going to say the same thing. Last but not least, of course, we want you guys to be sure to check out all of the other podcasts that we have, both on the Podcastica and Next Level Podcast Network, since this is a joint venture between both networks. And it's been a lot of fun so far through the first season. And man, a lot of great content on both. And I'm not just tooting my own horn. There's just House Podcastica has been fantastic.
Thank you.
Walking Dead cast has been great. It's just been. I listen to so many podcasts, and a majority of the ones that I listen to are both Next Level and Podcastica. So it's fun.
Thanks.
What have you got going on for House Podcastica coming up? I know we with the announcement of Game of Thrones coming back next year. You're doing your rewatch. How far along are you right now?
We just started season 5.
Okay.
So I just recorded season 5, episode 1 and 2. Those will release next week. We'll probably have the season finale of season 4, The Children, is going to release today or tomorrow. I gotta just get it out. It's all ready to go. And that one I recorded with Dave. So
cool. Very cool.
It's 2 episodes a week until late January, and then I can slow down a little bit until the rewatch or until the last season starts in April. So
it's been
and
fun to
then
watch.
you just recorded with John Wesley Shipp.
I did. I just had a conversation. Second time I had a conversation with John Wesley Shipp, who, if you're not familiar with, was the original Flash back in 1990. He returned for the new version of the Flash to play Barry Allen's father, Henry Allen, and eventually became the superhero Jay Garrick. He's returning to the series again for the big, massive crossover that they're doing next week, the Elseworlds crossover between all of the shows. And for those of you that don't watch those shows, you would also remember him as Dawson's father on Dawson's Creek.
I thought it was Pacey's dad.
No, I think he was Dawson's father.
Oh, all right. You would know.
Yup. So, but he is a wonderful guest, and I absolutely love talking to him, and I can't wait until I get another opportunity to talk to him again. He's so cordial. Like, he messages me before the interview to make sure everything's good, and then once the interview is over, like, he literally canceled an interview he had after mine so that he could spend more time talking to me. And then even after the interview was over and we disconnected from Skype, he still messaged me on Skype and said, "Thank you for the conversation." He's just a genuine, nice human being. And
I love that.
For that reason alone, even if you don't know any of his work, I always encourage people just to listen to the interview just because he's the conversation, just because he's so genuinely nice, and I love it.
Cool.
So
very cool.
But that interview has already been posted to Next Level Podcast Network, which is nextlevelradioonline.com, and you can find that under the DC Primetime show.
Cool.
But I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode of We Have to Go Back. One more episode before we completely wrap up season 1. As we've mentioned a number of times, next week we'll go over Exodus Part 2, both parts. So it'll be a 2-hour finale. As it aired on television, that's how we'll discuss it. So we want plenty of feedback for this one because this is the season finale. So we want to know what you guys thought of the season so far, what you thought of the season finale, and then most likely, I think after we talk about the season finale next week, we're going to do a season recap episode where we'll go back and talk about all of season 1, and we want your feedback for that as well. Let us know who some of your favorite characters in season 1 were, some of your favorite moments, and we'll go over it together, which will be a lot of fun.
Yep.
So, but that's it for me. Anything from you?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Cool. With that being said, then we're gonna say goodbye. Until next time, we'll see you guys further on down that rabbit hole. Take care.
Bye.
We have to go back, Kate. We have to go back!